How would you start talking about economics? From microeconomics, macroeconomics, finance maybe? That's exactly what I've been asking myself for the last couple of weeks before starting to record this video and before starting this channel. I came to the conclusion that I was going to do it the same way that my professor did back in my first day of college. I remember that he arrived, he sat down, and he said, Bonjour. Today, we are going to discuss the three types of economies that exist. These three types of economies are not only going to be the main topic of this video, but the main topic throughout all of our channel. Hello, my name is Enrique Caraz Roma. I am an economist graduated by the University of La Sorbonne in Paris, and today we're going to know and discuss the difference between economics, the economy, and personal economy. To get started, we're going to go to economics first. In this case, when we talk about economics, what we're referring to is a science. Economics or economical science is mainly divided into two parts: empirical economics and theoretical economics. In this case, empirical economics uses the traditional scientific method. In other words, hypothesis, practice, and conclusion. It is used mainly to talk about new indicators, to find new ways to analyze patterns, to analyze the economy, and it's basically, as I said, scientific. On the other hand, we can find theoretical economics. When we talk about theoretical economics, it is not as scientific as the other one. In this case, we can find great characters throughout the history like Adam Smith, Karl Marx, David Ricardo, and many other theories like communism, capitalism, socialism, anarchism, I don't know, many others that it's basically unlimited. As you may know, this is not that much based in scientific evidence, so well, the scientific method with hypothesis, practice, and conclusion, but it's basically how the economy could work in theory. For example, communism in theory works, but if we see practical applications of this model, it doesn't work at all. You can have the example of Cuba, the Soviet Union, China that has evolved into a capitalist society. Why do we use theoretical economics? In this case, we use it to create new concepts, to try to find theoretical solution that then, through empirical results, get into new models, new indicators, new analysis, etc. In other words, it is the brain and the imaginary part of the economy. Passing to the second point of today's video, the economy. When we talk about the economy, we're talking about the financial state of a country, city, continent, territory in general. Usually, we use econometrics to measure how's the state, how's the economy of a country. In this case, the line between both is very, very, very thin. Let's say like that. But what exactly is inside of the economy? The economy is formed by the combination of all the exchanges and transactions made by its economic agents. What is an economic agent? Well, further in the future, I'm going to make a video specific on economic agents, but in general, we can find three different economic agents. We can find individuals, enterprises, and institutions. When I refer to individuals, what I'm referring to is us, you and I, consumers, investors, retailers in general. So people that consume and exist in the economy. We get a salary, we consume, some of us invest, and well, we have our own participation in the economy. The second point is enterprises. What are enterprises? They are the producers, they create value, they grab a bunch of stuff and make it together to create things like this mobile phone or the camera, which I am recording this video right now. Finally, the third economic agent, main economic agent, is institutions. What are institutions? We find the government, we've got the IRS, we got, for example, greater institutions like the European Union, that is not just a government, but it's a combination of all governments, and many, many others that have their own influence in the economy. As I said, the line between economics and the economy is very thin because they're kind of correlated. We cannot have one without having the other one. We cannot analyze the French economy without knowing what's France's GDP. We cannot analyze how's the US economy without knowing how's the unemployment rate, the inflation rate, GDP, etc., etc. Finally, the third type of economy that my professor said or that my professor explained was personal economy. In French, we can make economies. In other ways, we can save our money. When we talk about personal economics, we're talking about ways of managing our wealth. In this case, we receive a salary and we decide to spend it, invest it, burn it if you want. So, personal economics is the science behind all this information. In this channel, we're going to teach you how to optimize this part of the economy, this personal economy. In this channel, we will cover the three types of economies that my professor explained. So, in other words, we're going to take concepts, theories, empirical results, and make it easier for you, as well as ways to manage your money. How should you invest? How should you save your money? What should you be spending? Are you spending too much? Credit? Etc., etc. And the best part is that I'm going to do this in 5 different languages whenever YouTube allows me to. So it will be in Catalan, Spanish, French, Italian, English, and maybe in the future, if I learn Portuguese. So if you want to learn more, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much for being part of this community and welcome to our family.